It depends how Iran retaliates. If Iran retaliates militarily, for example, let's say that we know there was some remote control in the attack, and let's say that was out of, for example, the base in Emarat, and it was controlled by the Israelis, because now Emarat, Israel is the same thing. They've all normalized, as they say, right? They've all become, so UAE is now the United Zionist Emirates, and it's the same. It's the same as so-called Israel. So if Iran was to hit something like that, and it did it with precision, I think again the enemy will be paralyzed and they won't be able to do anything, because the enemy knows that if they go to war with Iran, it's not like back in 1980 when Iran was alone. That is finished. Iran is a country, is not a country, it's actually an ideology, it's a thought, it's a system. And that system has allies and friends, not proxies, but friends, allies and friends in Yemen, in Syria, in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Palestine. And they know that, this will end badly for the empire. America cannot sustain a war with Iran. It can't. The distance is too much, and America is actually not. America has been fighting continuously in wars since 2001. Continuously, one war after another. Its soldiers are not treated well when they return back to the country. They are treated like junk. There is a lot of suicides within American, and this is when I say American, I mean Western as a whole, including Australian. There's a lot of negativity about war in the soldiers and the military, and it's the politicians and the psychos that want war. I don't think they will start a war, the West. Israel, on the other hand, is slightly crazy. And at the same time, the Israelis also have ideological components that manipulate them, where they need a war between them and Islam, if you like, so that they can provoke the return of the Messiah and all of this stuff, right? Or they have all of these, the Christian evangelicals, the Christian Zionists and such, they have all of these mentalities. Based on that, maybe they will try. But I think the Israeli generals also remember 2006. And when they fought Hezbollah in 2006, this was maybe one Iran is, you know, of what they will face. And this was 14 years ago. 14 years is a long time for people to improve. And even now, they know they can't even fight Hezbollah. They can't even fight Hamas, poor people. Yeah. Saudi, with all of its allies, can't defeat Ansar Allah in Yemen. And these are Ansar Allah, you have to see them. These are people that go to the battlefield with sticks and flip-flops. They don't need all of this weaponry because their heart is so strong. And when you have people like this, you can't fight. If the Zionists, like Said Hassan has said, if the Zionists do decide they want to make a full-on adventure, then they will go the same way as JCPOA, and no one will bother reciting Fatiha them. But they will also be ended. And when the Zionists are gone, then the region will be resolved, because the Arab Zionists will go as well. And this leads to the whole idea that the only reason the Zionists are there in the region is because America and the West is protecting them in the region. This is why when Rahbar said the most best revenge for Haj Qasim's killing is to remove the empire and remove the US from the region, because the moment the US leaves the region, the US will start worrying about its own self. This is good for the US. It's good for the people of US. Israel will not be able to sustain anything. Even Hamas will be able to defeat Israel on its own. And because, like Said Hassan has said, it's weaker than a spider's web. There is nothing there. Even within Israel, there is a net emigration away from it. Any people that are born there are desperate to get their second passports because they want to leave. They're not happy. There is so much corruption. Right now, Netanyahu, everyone knows, is going under corruption trials over and over again. So it's a country that is broken. And this is because of, it started on theft, and anything that is built on something bad, you build it on bad foundation. You build a house on bad foundations, the house will fall after a little while. So this is the thing. So I think whatever Iran does, I don't think America will react, even though America has brought its Nimitz carrier fleet and everything to the region, and they're looking and they're doing investigations and everything. America knows that if it tries to go against Iran, General Salami has said, even Haj Qasim had said, that, please, just don't do this. This is going to end badly for you. Because I mean, from my perspective, if the Persian Gulf was to increase in size by the size of the United Zionist Emirates, which is not a bad thing. We need more space in Khalij Fars in the Persian Gulf to go through. And places like Emirat and Bahrain, they will be the places that get hit more, and Arabistan and Saudi, right? So those entities will be cleansed of all the rubbish. So it's good for us, right? For America, it's very bad because if it loses its bases in Bahrain, in Emirat, hatta in Qatar and Saudi, it's finished. What will it do? How will its people like go back to their get their guns and everything? Israel is too far. It won't help. Even Turkey, if it wants to help America, which I don't think it will, it can't. You know, Egypt has its own problems. And Jordan, well, I mean, come on, you can't take Jordan seriously as a country. So, I don't think that the Americans will react. The Israelis, I honestly couldn't tell you. It's possible, but whatever the Israelis do, they know that their end is in sight.